top of the show, Sophie P.M., and you're watching Let Freedom Ring. Let Freedom Ring.
Yeah! What?
Welcome to Let Freedom Ring, the live stream, the 4th annual Royal Rumble Extravaganza. The Royal Rumble is today. I have from Coming Down the Aisle podcast, Mike DiStefano coming to us from the shiny state of Arizona. Mike, how are you?
What's up, Dan?
What's happening? And we have Kendall. I lost him. KPG is in the house. Is he back?
We had Kendall.
Yeah, I went to go turn the post down. My bad, and it kicked me out. So
and we got Kendall on the show as well. Kendall, how the heck you doing today?
I'm doing good. Knowing that my buddy from Long Island is in Tampa, he might be in Tropical Field tonight. So I'm straight. My buddy's in Tampa, Florida, doing big things.
I honestly, I do want to bring that up. I am going to save that for the end. Last night on Ring and Free Thoughts, I kind of did touch upon MJF. Is he there? Is he not? I want to save that to the end because it's probably the most interesting thing about what's going on in wrestling right now. But it's the Royal Rumble. This is one of the 4 major pay-per-views to me.
Yes, it is. And Dan, this is an interesting one because our first pay-per-view without a McMahon.
That is true. No McMahon will be tied as Vince McMahon has stepped down from World Wrestling Entertainment, from TKO. Obviously, the scandals, and we talked about this last night on Ring and Free Thoughts. If there's time, we'll get into it. I am in no way a lawyer, criminal analyst, criminal. I have no criminal justice background or anything like that. But I want to get into the Rumble because that's what today is all about. And I want to ask you both this first question. What was the first Royal Rumble that you saw live? Mike, what was the first one that you ever saw?
It's got to be the first one back in '88 when it was on NBC.
Oh, really? So you saw the first ever Rumble?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's before my time. Tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah. No. The first one was on NBC. It wasn't a pay-per-view. NBC wanted to try something out with Vince, and they came up with the Royal Rumble. It was only 20 men at the time. It wasn't 30, and there was no title matches on the line. I think it was like a cash prize you won or something, like 20 grand or something. But I think the first winner, if I remember, was Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah, I believe he was. I got to ask this. So is that 88?
88 was the first one.
So is this predating Saturday Night's Main Event? Because I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Saturday Night's Main Event. No, Saturday Night's Main Event. I think was the first one was 85.
Okay, that makes sense. So this was kind of like we're gonna do a special kind of event to kick off, like to see.
Right. It was originally a Pat Patterson, rest in peace. It was his idea. This was his baby. This was his creation for Vince. And Dick Ebersol was going to run it with Vince. And it turned out to be so popular that Vince decided to go pay-per-view with it and make it an annual event for pay-per-view, then have it on NBC every year. But the very first one was actually on network television.
See, I never even thought about that. I never really knew that. I knew Hacksaw had won it. I knew it was a Pat Patterson idea, but I actually didn't know it was on NBC. I guess I never even thought about it, But Kendall, what's the first Rumble that you remember seeing? Because, much younger than Mike, a little bit younger than me. But Kendall, what was the first?
Much younger than Mike. I like to tell you feel old.
But Kendall, what's the first Rumble you remember seeing?
06 with Ray.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so 2006, Rey Mysterio, he wins the Rumble. I recall that it was right after Eddie Guerrero's passing. Who were
Yep.
the Was it Tim and Taker were the last two, or was it
Him,
Triple H?
him and Randy Orton, the GOAT, Randy Orton.
Oh, it was Randy Orton. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
how it led to the
Yeah,
triple threat at Mania.
Okay.
yeah, very good memory, Kendall.
Yeah. So for me, my first one that I ever saw, and I was going to use the background for the show. It just didn't look great. Was '92. So every Rumble that I've seen live had stipulations, whether it be you become the champion or you get a title shot at WrestleMania. But honestly, the first one I saw, Ric Flair won, and to me, it's still my favorite Rumble. I think it is my favorite overall. That's a pretty
Did,
star-studded Rumble.
did you have a tear in your eye?
Yeah, well, I did. I definitely did, but I hated Ric Flair back then. Like he
Oh yeah.
cost Hogan the title, but I remember as a kid thinking, what Hulk Hogan helped cost Sid Justice the match, and even when I was 7 years old watching that, I remember thinking like, that's what the bad guy would do. Why would Hogan help Ric Flair? You know what I mean? I don't know if you remember that, Mike.
Yeah, but I think it's because Sid eliminated Hogan. That's why that happened.
Yeah, but then
And
Hogan was
it was
it's every
leading to
man
the
for himself.
Sid,
Yeah.
right? And then it was leading to the Sid heel turn that happened to make that. Let me get back on the camera here. To make that happen, to have WrestleMania 8, which was in the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, you had Hogan and Sid. Well, it
And it
was
was
supposed to
like,
be
is
Hogan
this
and
Hogan's?
Flair. It
Yeah.
was supposed to be Hogan and Flair, but then creative. There was a thing going on between Flair and Hogan, who was going to take the pin. Then they went a different route. They said, okay, we're going to have Savage take on Hogan. Savage take on Flair, and then Sid will turn heel, and then he'll take on Hogan.
Yeah, and I heard that the claim, and I don't know how true it was they weren't drawing at house shows because they were having Flair and Hogan wrestling each other.
Well, I know they had one at Madison Square Garden, and the place was packed. Well, MSG's always packed.
I feel like
the
that.
house shows.
I feel like that's the most missed opportunity. One of the biggest missed opportunities, because obviously in retrospect it doesn't matter, but I think that would have been cool. But I just think if Hogan was this really goody two shoes guy at the time, right? He was a poor sport. The Royal Rumble was every man for himself. Why would he help Flair, who cost him the title, eliminate Sid? You know what I mean? Like that missed a little logic
Yeah.
for me. What do you
Didn't
think,
make
Ken?
sense.
Yeah, like if you really look back, like Sid should have been mad at Hogan. Hogan was, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but
Well, like I said, Sid eliminated Hogan. That's when, and they were supposed to go, okay, I'll shake your hand, and they were shaking hands, and then all of a sudden he pulled them.
yeah,
And Flair actually helped him by lifting up the legs, and they actually both eliminated Sid in the match for him to Flair to win the belt.
So what I'm saying is like what Hogan did was a heel move. That's a poor sport. And Hogan's supposed to be the guy at the time saying, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, the goody two shoes. And he's the one that helps Ric Flair win the WWF title. So I always thought that was missing a little logic with like Hogan's character. To this day, I still think that.
Well, that was 92, right?
Yeah.
I think the fans were starting to get bored of the Hogan persona. That's what I think. That's what it was. Fans were really starting to like, okay, enough of this. Enough of this crap.
I do agree with that to some, because I did go back and I watched Survivor Series 92 recently, and that crowd popped for Taker. Some of the crowd, not all of it, but they popped when Taker won the title, and there was actually Undertaker signs in the stands, which obviously at 7 years old I didn't remember that. But I will say at WrestleMania 8, that crowd in the Hoosier Dome was going nuts for Hulk Hogan. I mean, all he had to do was throw a punch and they were going like out of their minds.
Oh no, like no. See, when the whole Hogan people started souring, different, like different places where you would go, like New York would probably like boo him. But if you went somewhere where it was more, I want to say more of a casual type fan type deal, they would cheer Hogan. But when you went into places like New York and Boston and Philly back then, when they were having the house show still at the TD Gardens, the old
Garden,
Garden,
yeah,
and the Philly Spectrum, they weren't feeling Hogan at the time.
Those fans have always been very different than like some of the other places in the country for sure. But
that's where the whole casual hardcore fan deal started, I guess, when you go.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, that was just an interesting. And Hogan was saying before that match, I don't know if this is my last match or whatever at WrestleMania 8, but I want to ask this, Kendall. What have been some of your favorite surprise entrances to the Rumble? Whether it's a return, unexpected, debut, what have been some of your favorite surprise entrances?
Well, a future one will be the night when
We will
Mr.
talk
Maxwell
about that. We will
when
talk
Mr.
about
Maxwell
that.
Jacob Freeman shows up. That's gonna be a future. I'm gonna pop for that. But some of my favorite debuts, obviously AJ Styles back in 2016 when he debuted. Um, I can't remember who else debuted it in the Rumble. I should say that's the only one that pops in my head. Returns, Triple H, John Cena in '08. Um, so yeah, those three pop in as like a return slash they four, I should say, because obviously MJF. That if he happens to show up tonight, he will because he's in Tampa. I know,
Yeah,
trust me.
we got a whole segment for that. So hold those thoughts.
So, um,
uh,
yeah, those three styles, Triple H and Cena.
Mike, what about you?
I agree with Kendall on the AJ Styles one. That nobody saw that one coming. Nobody saw that one coming at all.
It was on the dirt sheets because I look back at my Facebook memories and I had posted a picture because it was for the title, if you remember. And it was the rumor that AJ was going to come out, and I posted a picture of AJ with the title, like because someone had photoshopped that. And I was like, at the end of the night, is this going to happen? But until he actually comes out, I didn't believe it. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean that one, of course, returns. Well, Ken already said Triple H, and Triple H announced it on Raw, but Cena's showing up in '08 at the Garden just because nobody knew. Because like his injury was supposed to be like what 9 months out. He comes back in 3.
Yeah, I wasn't thrilled about that at the time myself, but yes.
I think one of the best returns I ever saw though had to be Mr. Perfect when Kurt Hennig came back to WWE.
I like that.
I forgot what year that was. Was that 02, if I believe?
It was 2002. It was after they bought It was, a little while after buying WCW. Contracts were expiring. Their guaranteed contracts. And he showed up.
But when Kurt Hennig showed back up in WWE, I was like, okay.
That was pretty cool because, and if I recall, it was Triple H and Austin in the ring when he came out. Mm-hmm. I saw the clip recently. I'm surprised no one said Edge.
Oh crap! Yeah.
That was in Phoenix.
Edge. We never. There was rumors, but until it happened, I didn't believe it.
Which, by the way, speaking of Edge, R.I.P. Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
By the way,
same day.
that was the same day. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird Rumble, for sure. Because Kobe was such a legend. We talked about that yesterday. Was the 4-year anniversary of his passing. But yeah, no, there's been a lot. I remember Diesel came out one year. That was kind of not a big shock, but he hadn't dressed as Diesel in years. There's been some weird ones too. Of like, I remember watching Rumbles where someone from like New Japan would show up, and I had no idea who they were.
I would.
At the time. Well, this is like, I forget who it was. I think Mil Mascaris showed up one year. 97, they had a lot of people from AAA in the Rumble, if I recall. A lot of the Mexican stars were in it. But yeah, AJ for me, that was big because I thought AJ Styles should have been in WWE like 12 years prior to him showing up. I really think they should have signed him in 2004. He has now had he's been in WWE now for 8 years. Can you believe that?
Longer than Mr. Dwayne The Rock Johnson himself. As an active competitor, not just overall, but active competitor. He's been in there longer as an active competitor than The Rock. And he's had more matches than he in 8 years than he did in 11 in TNA.
That's crazy. That's really crazy. And I think AJ's like 46 now. So, I mean,
Yeah.
And he looks great right now. He really does. For a 46-year-old man, he looks like he's in some of the best shape he's ever been in. Like, he looks jacked.
Yeah, they're on that good diet plan.
Yeah. I want to ask this too. There's been a lot of great matches. I think this year, there's only like 2 matches other than the Rumbles that I see advertised.
Today,
Which
it's the Fatal 4-Way and the United States title.
I gotta ask this, Kendall. Then, what have been some of your favorite matches that weren't the Rumble from this pay-per-view?
The triple threat match between Seth, Brock, and Cena, 2015. Was it 2015? Yeah, triple threat.
Yeah.
Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy. I think it was last man standing. I think it was, or just a regular old match. I don't know. It was when he was champ and Hardy was IC champ. Non-Rumbles. What else? Styles versus Cena.
Yes.
Rumble 2017.
Cena tied the record that night, right?
Yeah. So he tied the record. Then, what else? Trying to think of non-Rumble matches. That's about it. All I can think of for right now. If there's any more, I'll say them. But yeah, those 3. Those 3.
Mike?
The one off the top of my head, Yokozuna versus The Undertaker in a casket match.
Ooh, I like that pick.
Took 15 men to get The Undertaker in the casket, and probably one of the best promos ever done with Taker in the casket, giving that whole speech about him coming back and he will not rest in peace. And he all of a sudden the coffin explodes on the video, and the Taker being lured up, being brought up from on the strings up above the crowd. That was memorable for me. That just the promo alone at the end was great. I can't really think of any other. I can't really think of any other type of. Kendall said the Cena match where he tied Flair's record. That was great. I can't think of anything.
One I really enjoyed, it's one of my favorite matches of all time, was
it Foley versus The Rock in the
I Quit match?
I Quit match was a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I Quit match. Oh, Foley and Triple H. Yeah, that's another one.
Triple H street fight.
Foley and Triple H. I think, and The Rock, and I think Rock and Mick Foley too, in that I Quit match. Yeah. That was fantastic. Foley being handcuffed behind his back, Rock with about 9,000 chair shots to him.
He took a lot of liberties, and if you read Mick Foley's book at the time, Mick, I mean, I think he was being followed by the film crew for Beyond the Mat,
Hmm.
and his kids were
Right.
terrified. And I think Mick wrote in his book, he goes, I like The Rock. I like this is, he wrote this book in like '99, but The Rock had not like checked on him or apologized, and I mean, he beat the hell out of him with that. I mean, everything we know about chair shots now, that was pretty disturbing.
Yeah.
I got to throw in, and I know we don't, his name's not mentioned a lot, but Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle at Royal Rumble 2003. That was a pretty amazing match, and you could see that Benoit was really loved by the audience because even in a loss, like he got a standing ovation after that match, and very sad of how his life turned out in the end and everything. But at the time, you could tell that Chris Benoit was on his way to a world title at some point. Um,
Did they edit that out? If you watch it on Peacock, is that match edited out because of Benoit?
No,
Really?
nothing's
Okay.
edited out. Even his Rumble one is still
yeah, they didn't
on
take him out. They just if they do a documentary, they don't mention his name, but they don't edit the pay-per-views. But yeah, I like the
probably on
Undertaker pick.
DVD.
Yeah. Yeah, like they advertise a match. I don't know. Like anytime it's in a documentary, they don't say his name. Um, I love that Undertaker pick because I was still pretty young and I was pretty upset that all these wrestlers kept coming in and interfering, and it took them all to get him in that casket because you didn't think that Undertaker could ever lose a casket match, right?
Right.
You just,
But when he saw that, I know Double J was involved. I know the Head Shrinkers were involved, which was
Crush was involved.
Crush was involved. I mean, there were so many involved in that match. It's not even funny.
I think that was the best way to do it, right? Because the Undertaker was so unstoppable. Like you had to have like all the heels come out and take him out for him to lose that match.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's been a lot of good. Didn't The Rock beat CM Punk at a Rumble, or was it the next pay per
Yeah,
view? Yeah, he did.
that
Yeah,
was the
he did
Rumble.
beat them. Yeah, and then they had a rematch, I believe.
Yeah, rematch at the Chamber.
Okay, that was a pretty big deal because that ended
Somebody get
Punk's
your
streak.
tail down. Nobody wants to see your butt.
We got some animal cameos in here right now. Yeah, there's just been a lot. I mean, this pay-per-view goes back so long, and again, I'm a big fan of all the major 4-1s that go way back: Rumble, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, Survivor Series. So super excited for today. It's like a holiday. Want to get into this though? Make a few predictions here. Again, not a very large card. Again, and if anybody wants to comment, if you are doing it on the personal page, I can't see it, so you have to do it on the Let Freedom Ring page. But yeah, not a lot of matches, not a lot of predictions to make here. But first one, U.S. title match, Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens. They had a little spat at the Performance Center this week. If anybody saw that clip, I thought that was pretty cool. Kendall, you got a prediction for Logan Paul, Kevin Owens tonight?
Yes, Logan Paul's gonna win. I think that he's gonna beat Kevin Owens tonight, and he's going to lose at Mania in a U.S. title ladder match. So, but for right now, I think he's gonna beat Mr. Kevin Owens.
Do you think he'll be clean?
Of course not. It's sky purple, Dan.
What do you think, Mike?
Logan Paul, I agree. I mean, this Logan's gonna hold the belt until Mania, and then hopefully, well, I know probably who will probably beat him at Mania, but yeah, but Logan Paul will probably be KO tonight and probably use breast
Yeah,
or something, and that's the man that's probably gonna beat him.
I like that. Yeah.
What everybody's saying.
L
Hell,
L
hey,
night.
night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with you guys. I think Logan Paul will defend it. I don't think he'll beat Kevin Owens clean, but I wouldn't be shocked if he does. I think there'll be some kind of interference. I'd have to imagine at some point they're going to get Jake Paul involved in something. I don't know if he has any
Yeah.
fights coming up. Did you see the video of him getting introduced to John Cena, and he went to shake his hand and he just walked right by, like you can't see me thing. He walks by
Yeah.
Cena. He's like, I thought that was pretty funny. Here's a big one that could have major WrestleMania implications because a lot of things with the Rumble have it. You have Roman Reigns, the WWE Universal Undisputed Champion. He has 3 opponents tonight: LA Knight, AJ Styles, Randy Orton. We got a lot of rumors about possibly The Rock being involved with WrestleMania. A lot of people want to see Cody Rhodes finish the story, which finishing the story would be beating Roman Reigns for that title. What are we thinking is going to happen? Because I don't think the title's coming off, but I won't make my prediction just yet. But a lot of people think it could happen. Kendall, what do you think happens in this? It's not. Is it Fatal 4 or first pinfall?
First pinfall.
First pinfall. So
Okay.
Roman's winning. I'm not gonna act like something special. Besides The Rock, who is now in Vince's spot, board of directors, whatever the fuck he was doing. Whatever the something Cody Rhodes, whatever he was doing. Whatever he was doing, that's The Rock now. But unless The Rock comes out at the end and challenges Roman and all that, that's the only thing that's gonna be interesting tonight. Roman's gonna win. I think this is gonna be a Seth, Cena, and Brock type of match. What I talked about earlier, where because you remember that match, they put Brock through the table, and it was just Seth and Cena throughout the majority of the match. Then Brock came in, suplex, F5 over. I think there's going to be a similar thing to where they'll put Roman through the table, or they'll put him through the barricade, triple threat. Then Roman comes in, Superman punch, spear, 1, 2, 3.
I like that. Mike, what do you think?
Okay. Who do I want to win? LA Knight. Who do I think is going to win?
Yeah.
But Roman probably will win. It will probably be a typical Roman title match. Jimmy will interfere. Solo will interfere. It's the same BS. Every single Roman Reigns match. Please take the belt off this man. He's killing wrestling to me. Doesn't defend the title. Defends it 5 times a year. But we're still going to get Roman winning the belt.
Does this feel like filler? I know it's a world title match, and it's the Rumble, which is what everybody. Does this feel like it's just filler? Because I don't think there's anybody. Because I'm going to predict Roman Reigns as well. Is this just filler at this point? Because I can't see Roman Reigns losing the title at anywhere except for WrestleMania, and it just
it's just filler because, to me, right. I have no problem with Roman defending the title 5 times a year because this whole 30-day rule, oh my God, doesn't exist. Never has existed, and nobody complains when Hogan defended the belt every 2 months, every now and then. We did it back then. So I don't know why people are complaining now, but they did it back in the day too. Newsflash, did it back in the day too. But I have no problem with him because, again, what is it about? Money, drawing. And who draws the most? Roman, because he's the champion. That's why. Because he can do what he wants. Because when he's in town, guess who they're going to see? Roman. When he's announced for a show, what do tickets do? What do tickets do? Go up. So to me, I have no problem with him defending the titles 5 times a month. Do I want a champion that's going to be on TV every week? I'm gonna be honest, no, because even though Seth Rollins I think is overrated, I don't think we need a champion that's gonna. The workhorse and champion is overrated in my opinion. I think you should only defend the title when you have to, right? So, yeah, that's my opinion. But yeah, this match itself, it is a filler, but I have no problem with him taking months at a time off because Do you want a champion that takes most of that time off, and but it's here every time you call him, or a champion like Seth, who's here every week but gets hurt?
I
So
was just
yeah,
I was just about to say that, Kendo. Like you said, like they say, the workhorse champion, as I put it in air quotes. Seth defending that belt, yeah. Did he need to defend the belt against Jinder Mahal? No, but look what happened. Torn MCL. Now Seth is taking off 2 months, and then everybody, and I said this last week with James when we were talking about this, about what Seth was going to do, and I said, the internet, and Kendall, you can agree with me, as we always do, that the internet wrestling, the IWC wrestling Twitter, toxic as a cesspool, but when they come out and go the 30-day rule, oh, but Seth has to relinquish the title. No. Why should he relinquish the title? The last time Roman defended the belt was in Saudi Arabia against LA Knight. Why can't Seth take 2 months off in rehab and defend the belt at WrestleMania?
Yeah, the 30-day rule is only
Right.
they only use it when it's
The
convenient.
30-day rule is a kayfabe rule that's been done since the 1970s or even the 60s.
right. It's like you said, Dan. They only use it when it's convenient, and it's like I told our guy Noah, who's in the chat, because he was one of those ones that he said in the chat. He said, "Oh, Seth should vacate the," and that's why I told him if he should vacate the title, then Roman should vacate the title. He was like, "No, watch the Roman." I said, "Exactly. So stop complaining."
Exactly.
So if he has to vacate the title, then so does Roman. So does Gunther, because when the last time Gunther defended his title, so Logan Paul.
Gunther defended his title before Roman even defended his title. Gunther defended his title on day one up against oh crap, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank.
I watched
Miz.
it.
Miz.
Oh yeah.
So if Logan Paul should look, it's just Judgment Day. Everybody should have no titles. If we're using that like the 30-day rule, everybody should have no
Nobody
titles.
should get a title. That's it.
Right. Besides maybe Io. That's probably about because Io defended her title the SmackDown, the first SmackDown this year. So the only person that should have a title according to the 30-day rule, if we're using that logic, Noah, is Io. That should be the only champion right now for the main roster.
Didn't Rhea defend her title at day one against Ivy Niles?
Yeah, well, Io and Rhea. There you go.
Io, Rhea, and Gunther, because he defended his belt on day one too.
Right.
Yeah,
those should be the only champions, and they're about to approach 30 days without defending their title. So come on now. If we're gonna do it for something, do it for everybody.
Injury should vacate. Roman can defend if needed. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against I think an injury you could, but there's been times that in companies haven't done that. Shane Douglas was ECW champion for a long time, just doing commentary. If anybody remembers that, I know that's a different promotion, but yeah, I mean, I just think that they use that rule when it's convenient, when they're like, okay, we need a reason to defend the title. Let's use this, but honestly, like you guys are saying, Hogan, if you remember back in the day, Hogan did not wrestle on WWF Superstars. Hogan did not wrestle on WWF Challenge. Hogan did not wrestle on WWF Primetime Wrestling.
Yeah,
Hogan defended it.
Yeah, but they used to count it as if you defended your title on a house show loop. So, like, if he defended it at the Garden, it counted as a title defense. Or if he defended it at the Spectrum, it's a title defense. That's what they went with back in the day, because it really wasn't, there wasn't a pay-per-view every month like we have now.
There's 4. And
you remember that? Even back in the 80s, like you said, we had 4. So where are all these title defenses coming from? He's not going to defend it on here. Maybe Saturday Night's Main Event, but Saturday Night's Main Event was like once every 3-4 months. So they used to count the house show loops.
If they even did it, though, I'm sure that they made up a lot of title defenses at that point. Just like Goldberg's record, like, oh, he won these matches at house shows that never happened.
Goldberg is 177-0. He only wrestled 50 times.
Yeah. Yeah, I it is what it is. I think if you are, for everybody hooked on the 30-day rule, you're looking too deep into it, in my opinion.
You're going too far back.
Right. That's why I told Noah he should vacate the title. Okay, Roman should too. So there you go.
And you could always say, like, I mean, it's so easy to, in Roman's contract, he doesn't have to. You could always say that if you even
But
want to use that.
kayfabe. So
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's nonsensical. I'm fine with the way they've been using Roman Reigns. I don't think he is a big attraction now. I believe the ratings spike when he is advertised to be on SmackDown. So I mean, yeah, he's not losing the title tonight. I actually don't have a problem with this title reign. I really wanted Cody to finish the story last year, but the longer this goes on, it's like you're just waiting to see when is this actually going to happen. You know, here's what I want to know here: Women's Rumble match. I don't even know if I have a strong prediction on this. Kendall, have you given any thought to who's winning the Women's Rumble?
not really, but I have about 3 or 4 choices. Bailey being one. Now that the Kabuki Warriors won the women's tag team titles, you can have her go after Rhea, or by the way it's looking, you can have her get turned on by whatever damage control. I guess I'll just still going by that. I guess damage control. Her versus EO. If Mercedes comes back, then have her win. If Jade debuts tonight, have her win.
Ooh.
Because y'all know how I feel about Jade. If she debuts, I'm all over the place.
The rumor has it that Jade is going to show up tonight. That Jade is going to be a surprise entrant. Yeah.
If Jade shows up, I'm gonna scream like a little girl.
I just want to say real quick, someone asked what time the Rumble starts. And again, if you are commenting on the personal page, I can't see it, but I just looked. And it starts, I believe, at 8 o'clock. Pre-show probably starts at 7. So if anybody
and 8 Eastern. So if you're Central, that's 7. If you're Pacific Northwest, that's 5 o'clock. And if you're Mountain Time, that's 6 o'clock. So there you go.
Bailey or Riot, says Bobby or Becky. Anyone but Nia. Oh.
But yeah, those are my choices: Bailey, Jade, Mercedes, or I wouldn't have no problem with Shayna winning, running that back. But so those are my choices.
Mike, what are you thinking?
I think it's between Becky and Bailey. I wouldn't see Bailey win it, but Becky could win it because everybody wants a Becky Rhea match. So Becky could win that. Bailey could win the Elimination Chamber and take on Io. And if that damage control separation, because you gotta remember too, Julia is coming in from Stardom too. So and Julia knows Asuka and Kyrie and Io very well. And Io very well. So you can have a whole Japanese faction there. Bailey gets kicked out. She takes on Io at Mania, and she can win the belt.
Yeah, no, I like that. I no one's really. I mean, I guess Bailey sticks out in my head. Becky Bailey's never won, right?
No.
So yeah, I think Bailey could be one. I really like this is a good time to have Jade Cargill debut on WWE TV. I would love to see that.
I would love to see it too.
Yeah, I mean, like they said, she probably won't win, but they're saying like she'll come into it.
Yeah,
and like she'll show up and show up like maybe 8 or 9 eliminations, showing how, because they don't think like she's ring ready yet before a Rumble. You don't have to be ring ready for a Rumble. You just force the people out.
Yeah, I think it's a good place for her to come out. I think she's ring ready, though. I don't agree with. I mean, maybe they see something that we don't. I didn't think
she's probably not WWE ready, but because when new people come, you gotta get them WWE trained and all that, because the rings are different. Because AEW uses 18x18, WWE uses 20x20.
Yep.
WWE uses real ropes. AEW uses steel. Like,
Cables.
yeah, so a lot of things you gotta adjust to going to WWE. Like their ring is more professional, and just like a lot of their stuff, because they'll be. It's like going from overseas to the NBA, right? Because the balls are pause. The balls are different in the NBA. The court is different. All that. It's like going from overseas to the NBA.
Is
So
the
just
basket height different? Also, Kendall?
yeah, because the rim in the NBA is 20 feet, while the uh overseas is 10 feet. So
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think she'll be good. I mean, AEW stands, they didn't love her because she's not a flippy dippy do wrestler, right?
right.
So I think she fits better in WWE as a whole, anyways. I just think her character, the way she is, that AEW audience, which I'm a part of, she
Barely,
didn't.
but we're a part of it.
We criticized, but we're not like the AEW stands. They didn't care for
Just to
Jade
put it like
Cargill.
this, you AEW, we hate Tony Khan. We don't hate the product.
No,
You want to put it that way. We hate Tony Khan.
I can always find something. I can watch AEW and find something that entertained me throughout the night. It's annoying when you have an owner acting the way that Tony Khan does, because he just comes off as
Right.
such a crybaby. And I'm surprised he didn't cry over Jade leaving because he they're the ones that signed her and whatever. But I will say when people exit the company, except for when Big Swole left, because that was beyond unprofessional of Tony Khan. But usually when people leave, he has something nice to say about them. He did
Yeah.
for, he said very nice things about Andrade when he was leaving. And I know
No,
things.
you gotta be
Okay.
nice. You gotta be nice. A little bit just in case things don't work out. If you want them to come back, well, they were nice to me, so maybe I might come back.
Yeah, and I think he attacked Big Swole because she had been critical of them, and he could have taken the high road, and he decided not to.
Yeah,
Which,
she said a lot of things. I think she said that him and her like did some stuff together.
well, she had said I think she said that the black wrestlers aren't utilized well in AEW.
Yeah, she
Essentially,
said
is what
that,
she
but
said.
she also said that, or I'm not gonna put on her that she said that, but somebody said that her and Tony smoked weed together. So I don't know if that's true, but hey,
Yeah, that was the exit that he really didn't handle well. But he seems to have handled the other exits well. Cody he handled well. Andrade, Jade,
Well,
CM
punk,
Punk he
Super
didn't.
punk.
yeah,
Well, he had
myself a pump. I feel it for my life, you know.
he fired him and with just cause and never on this show. And I don't think any of us have ever said CM Punk didn't deserve to get fired. I think we all were in
Right.
agreement on that. It's just I think that Punk was a victim of a very not a victim. I don't want to say victim, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like he was part of a very unprofessional, toxic working environment, and
And I just want to say it's funny how you AEW stands say that Punk getting fired was going to resolve all the issues in AEW. Still problems in
It
AEW.
still hasn't.
No problems have been solved. Santana and Ortiz, him going off on a rant on Twitter. Nothing has been solved. What's
no,
been solved? Nothing.
because the boss isn't acting like a boss, and when people are like, "Well, Punk was the only issue," I go, "Wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. Are we just gonna ignore anything that happened with Sammy Gravana and Andrade when they were threatening each other on Twitter, and then fought each other in the backstage? Like that's not CM. That wasn't CM Punk. You know, people crying on Twitter and how they're being used. That's not CM Punk. So is CM Punk the problem, or was he a symptom?
Yes. Even when now I don't know if you've seen the mic, but CM Punk's it was CM Punk's idea to get rid of the rankings. Really?
I heard about that.
It was CM Punk's idea to get rid of the rankings. Even though they got rid of them.
Meanwhile, Punk was in one of the rankings, and that's how he got his title match.
Right.
Dummies.
I did learn
Yeah.
that I did not realize that he did have some say in creative there. I didn't know that.
That's why I said really. That's why, I don't believe that for 1 second. But yeah, sure, it was his idea.
I don't
Yeah,
care for the.
I
I
don't
don't
think
care
the
about the
ranking.
rankings.
I think the reason why they got rid of the rankings, and I don't know why we're talking about AEW
Yeah,
on
we'll
a
get off this in a second.
Royal Rumble preview show, but I think the reason why they got rid of the rankings is because Tony wanted to go more storyline based than just having a random. Oh, well, he's on AEW Dark and he's 10-0, so he should get a title. Why should somebody who's on Dark and not on the main show getting title matches? That was the point that Punk was. If Punk was trying to say something about it, that's the point he was trying to make. It just didn't make any sense for somebody like Kendall. Give me somebody who was good on Dark.
Brian Cage.
All right, somebody like a Brian Cage who's like 7-0. Why should he get a title match? He's not on. He's not on the major TV.
He's winning matches no one's watching.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And that's
maybe
how,
that,
unfortunately, I'm gonna bring these guys up. That's
and
how
Mhm.
Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs got countless tag team titles. They were getting matches on. They were winning matches on Dark against like Dark Order and Jobbers. That's how they. That's how they ended up getting like 10 title matches in a row because they were winning matches on fucking Dark against Dark Order and Fuego del Sol and Juice Robinson when he was a jobber back then. I'm not saying Juice Robinson now, but yeah, they were winning matches against like Fuego del Sol and Brian Pillman Jr. was Lexus King now, but yeah, they were winning tag matches
you
against
winning
guys
matches
like
against
those
the varsity, the
varsity athletes. Yeah, they were
varsity
getting like
athletes.
Yeah.
they were winning matches against those people.
But see, Kendall, the whole thing I want to see though is if Tony's going to do the rankings again, do it fine. Involve Dynamite and Collision. Do not put an AEW star on the Ring of Honor and have them win a match and say that goes to the AEW rankings. You do not involve Ring of Honor match. Ring of Honor matches should not count in the AEW rankings. It should be AEW
Well, you know,
television
it's because I
only.
told this to, I said this in the, I don't know if I said this in the chat or on Twitter. I said they're going to have people, and I said they're going to have people stat pad on Ring of Honor and Rampage. Nobody watches Rampage anymore, but that's how people are going to stack up their wins on Rampage and the Ring of Honor. Watch.
I'm gonna hate that if it does because
Well,
I think right now what it's gonna lead to, and like I said, I don't know why we're talking about this, but it's gonna lead to just one thing. Definitely is gonna be Hangman and Swerve are gonna have a tied, undefeated record, whatever it be. Let's say 6-0 each. It's gonna force a triple threat match for Revolution. And if you want to get the belt off Joe and give it to Swerve, use Hangman as the scapegoat and him be no pun to Jack Perry on that, but have Hangman be the scapegoat and take the pin on Swerve.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't want to waste too much time on this, but I will say one more thing. He did say they're going back to the sports-based thing. I'm more of a storyline-driven fan, so we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
see
why
how it
QT Marshall said that he left because he said they were going, because that's the rankings. New Japan doesn't do rankings, but per se, what they do, hey, you won this many matches, so you get. That's what New Japan does. So that's why he said he left because they're doing more of the New Japan sports based style, and he feels like that they should do storylines.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, listen, WWE is the king company in North America, so they've really introduced most of the fans to a certain type of wrestling. So when you try to do something different, you're kind of alienating an audience that is looking for storylines.
But
Right.
wasn't the
So
storyline working though with the whole MJF Devil storyline?
but that was like every other storyline at AEW though. We used to be friends, now we're not, so we're gonna fight. Bam.
Yeah, it was.
But
it was
moving
bad.
on.
Yeah, let's
get back
to
to the Rumble, guys.
men's
the
Rumble
way-
match. Kendall, what's your prediction here?
He's better than you. And you know it. MJF. Just kidding. I think he will show up but not win. But Cody, Unk, or Gunther. About 3 choices.
I like that, Mike.
I think knowing now what's going on with Seth, I think Gunther's going to win this match because if they're saying Seth's injury is going to be 2 to 4 months, he's saying he'll be back, whatever. But if you're gonna have him just go into a match, I'd rather see him go up against Gunther than CM Punk, because it becomes a squash match for the injury just to get the belt offset, so that he can go get the surgery done in rehab. So I'm gonna go with Gunther. I was gonna go with Punk, but now with the injury reset, I'm gonna go with Gunther.
I think Gunther's a really good pick, but I also think from what I saw on Raw, they're leading you to believe that Gunther is going to win this thing because of the confrontation that he had with Rollins. I'm going to make a prediction based on my heart on top of it. I know there's been a lot of talk about Roman and The Rock. I know The Rock obviously is now in a position of power, right? Not saying that he's going to use that. I have noticed that his daughter now has a bigger role on NXT, and I believe she was on SmackDown last night, but we'll sidestep that. I am going to go with Cody Rhodes back to back. This time he's finishing the story. That's my prediction. I'm probably going to be wrong on this, but I'm sticking to we've gone with Cody. He's as hot as he's ever been. It is time to do this. It was time last year. Now it's really time to do this. And I think on top of this, finishing the story has become a scratch that I cannot itch. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but does anybody else have that? Like, I just want to see this and I
it's
want to move
become
on.
HIV and AIDS. It's not going away.
Yeah, like I really want to see it happen. It almost happened, and now it's like this. I just want to have it happen so I can move on with my life as far as watching wrestling.
I think if Cody can lose this and then go to the Elimination Chamber and win the Chamber to get Roman. Because if you listen to the Stephen A. Smith interview, The Rock sounded more like he's looking towards this another year from now with him and Roman. Because he said he wants this done on a global scale with the Netflix deal. And now ever since that, with the whole global scale, a lot of rumors are starting now saying that they might be getting WrestleMania in London next year. It might not be Minneapolis. We have to wait till WrestleMania 40 to find out the city. And if it's London, because you had why would John Cena come out in London and say we want WrestleMania in London if you're not going to have it?
And before any AEW stands say it, I know we're going back to this, but I was going to say this one thing. They only booked Wembley because AEW did it first. I already said it for you, so y'all can shut up.
No, SummerSlam was already done in Wembley, Mark. So calm down.
But they don't realize they're dummies. Yeah,
but here's the thing. But here's the thing. When you look at these foreign countries, you're looking at Berlin now. You're looking at France. You're looking at London. Here's the difference between Europe and the United States when it comes to having sporting events, such as wrestling or boxing or whatever, MMA. Vince McMahon used to pay Madison Square Garden or the Barclays Center. And it's my New York blood that comes out when I say those things, just like Dan would say the TD Gardens. But Vince McMahon would have to pay them to have their show done in their arena. When it comes to Europe, they have a tourism board. They pay WWE.
And it's not just Europe, it's the United States too.
To have that done.
It's the United States too. Jerry Jones paid, Mr. All over Jerry Jones, but they pay Arlington, pay Vince.
But for WrestleMania they would pay. But if let's say WWE goes to the Barclays Center or to the TD Gardens, they're paying them rent to rent out their space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well,
so
I'll say
that's totally different. And if you want to do something if Rock says on a global scale, then we're holding off Rock and Roman until next year. You don't need.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's in Wembley.
Rock and Roman.
If it's in Wembley or the stadium I forgot what it's called in Germany,
Cardiff?
but Cardiff too. Well, Cardiff's Is it a stadium or a arena? Cardiff.
I think Cardiff is a stadium too. But if you really, I think they will get Wembley though, just to piss
Yeah,
off.
same.
I don't think this is
Yeah.
pissed off Tony. I'll tell you this straight up. Even if the AEW stands want to say they're only doing it because AEW did it, what is WWE's main mission as a publicly traded company? What's their main
To
mission?
make the most money.
To make the most money. And
For the
AEW
shareholders.
AEW showed that, hey, we can draw really good numbers with American wrestling in Wembley Stadium. WWE could just say, yeah, we'll
Hold
make
my
this
beer.
even bigger. You know what I mean?
Because they're gonna do 90,000 each night if they go to Wembley next year. For me, they're gonna do 90,000. So that's almost 200 plus thousand. So they're gonna do 90,000 each night.
And I think those fans deserve it. I think those British fans deserve it. They are. You've seen what
They're a
culture,
hell of a
right?
crowd.
You got the what culture, the other cultaholic or whatever it is. They love wrestling there. Yeah, they love it. They deserve a WrestleMania. They do. And whether that has anything to do with AEW, all AEW proved was like, oh yeah,
they come here for WrestleMania in the States every year.
Those fans are hardcore.
You got a big European following when it comes to WrestleMania.
I would love to see it. And if they do that, I think
like I said, I wouldn't have no problem with it if it was in the UK or Germany or Cardiff. If they go there, I have no problem with it. Because it's like Mike just said, they come over here every year for Mania. They gotta travel across. No problem with it.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's just wrap this up with just surprise entrances. We'll just bring up the first one and then see if you guys have anything else to think. I want to address this real quick. Okay.
It's
personally. No, but let's talk about this for a second. MJF, do I think it's going to happen? Maybe, probably not. But here's here's my only speculation of this. MJF a year ago was saying, what was he saying on AEW television? Big decision in 2024, something like that.
Yeah.
The bidding war.
The bidding war of 2024. He said this on AEW television, which honestly, if I were Tony Khan, I probably wouldn't have allowed him to do that. But he did. And it was the big talk. And then he sort of turned babyface, right? When he was leaving AEW, not leaving, I'm not saying he left AEW because that's not what I'm saying. At the end of this year, he loses the title to Adam Cole.
In the last year, yeah.
Yeah, last year. They didn't mention the contract. They stopped mentioning it. They didn't use it anymore. It has not been brought up. Which makes me go, are they not bringing that up because when they're not sure if he's coming back and they're avoiding that? Now, we heard MJF was likely hurt. He might have surgery. He might not. I have not heard a dirt sheet bring up his name. I have not heard. There's been nothing. And the dirt sheets, as credible as they're supposed to be, did not say one dirt sheet say that WWE was about to sign a Netflix deal. That came out of nowhere. Apparently, it was a headline.
Nobody saw that coming.
No, and I know. And I'm saying what we're seeing is that the dirt sheets really don't know. So, when people are saying that I heard they're going to Netflix, I was like, oh, I don't believe that until I had to see it with my own eyes. And I went, holy shit, they signed with Netflix.
Yeah, because everything we heard was WB and Amazon Prime.
So here's the question here, guys. I know Mike's saying it's not going to happen. And I don't disagree with you. But there's been nothing reported in weeks about MJF.
Well, the only thing then that I'm seeing right here that I've been looking up stuff while we were talking. The only thing I can see right now that I'm reading is coming from MSN from Fightful's Patreon subscription account. Regarding this, they have explicitly stated that, and they mentioned 3 people: Okada, Sasha Banks, and MJF are not expected to participate.
Well, Okada's a given because this contract is up at the end of the month, so that was a given that he wasn't. Yeah, so that's
no. Okada's actually his last match was the other day, so his contract.
His last match was the other day, but his contract is up 31st.
On the 31st.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
guess
well,
what I'm,
yeah, but I guess there was speculating rumor with that too, with him having the last match on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then coming
Yeah.
over here for Saturday, tonight. But according
Well,
to
yeah, but
Fightful,
that's his
your
contract.
buddy
His agent.
SRS, your buddy SRS though,
Yeah.
Kendall, is Okada, Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, and MJF are not expected to participate.
Well,
Now,
yeah.
like I
Well,
said,
they
yeah.
said New Japan said that his contract is up to 31st. So yeah,
and
that
it's
was
like
a given.
Okay.
And reading that though, it's like Kendall said though earlier. Oh, Cody's not coming there. Punk's not coming there. He's right, but I really don't think MJF is showing up. I really don't. I think he's still, he's nursing a lot of injuries. He's nursing the hip. He has a bad shoulder. Why would he show up for this match? And there's still a story going on in AEW with him and Adam Cole with the devil
Well,
gimmick.
there sort of
Well,
is.
they could have been. They're not really doing that. If you've been watching, they just been saying the only story, quote unquote, because AEW is the whole Orange Cassidy and uh the
Roderick
Charisma
Strong.
Vacuum, Roderick Strong. That's the only in that group. But they haven't really, besides the first episode of the year, Adam Cole really hasn't even talked about MJF. They haven't
He said
really
you'll never
brought
see
that
him.
up.
He said you'll never see him again. And
Yeah, that's all he said. That was the first episode. We're almost a month in now, and he hasn't said anything about MJF. He hasn't cut a promo about him. He's cut that one promo. That was it. And so it's like Dan said. There's been no mention, no nothing. There's just been going on about their TV show, going on about their TV program.
Unless Tony told him to shut up about it. I mean, that's it.
No, well, Mike, I think you could be right. But what I want to just point out, AEW, if he isn't coming back, has cut all the loose ends. They've cut the loose ends on TV, whether that's their doing, saying we want you to believe this, but if it's not, they have ended it. They have said he's never coming back. Now, obviously, that could be storyline driven, or that could be, hey, we didn't resign him. We've cut loose ends on this.
Right. That could be saying, hey, looks like I said, outside of that first promo at the beginning of the year, it's like Dan said, they haven't mentioned him. They haven't brought him up. They maybe brought him up. They maybe, and this is a huge maybe, brought him up once because they maybe have said, oh, MJF beat Samoa. Excuse me, Samoa Joe beat MJF. That's probably the only time they brought him up is when they bring up who Samoa Joe defeated. And I don't even think they brought that up. They just say Samoa Joe won the title at World Sin. They didn't say who he beat. So again, they could have brought it up in passing maybe once. But all I've been hearing is Samoa Joe won the title at World's End. They haven't say who he beat. So, and again, with the whole injury stuff, I get it, injuries and all that. But look at Charlotte. Tore ACL 6 weeks ago. She's already starting to walk and rehab, and she might be back before Mania, or just a little bit after Mania. So these guys, girls, they slash them, because my whole aspects here, are athletes at the end of the day. They can recover fast. I forgot the guy's name, but he was a running back in the NFL for the Rams. He tore his Achilles. He came back a month later, 2 months later. And Achilles is a year plus. And so these guys and girls, they slash them, whatever they want to classify them as, they're athletes. So if he comes in, even if he doesn't actually compete, I can see him maybe coming out at the end, like how Bray and Punk came out at the end.
Well, I got to say though, there's a lot of brilliance to if he does, because he's led everybody to believe that he's fed up with wrestling. He was giving interviews saying, "I'm pretty wiped out right now, and I'm hurt." That's
What'd be really cool though. Just to go on Kendall's theory just for a minute. Punk 1, Cody 2, and then the music hits, and you see a Burberry scarf come up on the Titantron. Have him come out as 3, and then you have Punk and Cody, who dealt with this man in the past in AEW, that'd be the best way to do it. And I'm saying it's a big if, because if it does happen, I'm on a flight to Dallas tomorrow morning. I got no choice.
Yeah.
Hey,
Or like right at the, like they could pull a Park or and Bray, or at the end they show the watermark, and at the end the lights cut out, and you see Cody or whoever wins the Rumble pop up, and the letters say BTYBB, better than you, baby. Well, not better. Well, not baby, but still better than you, or
yeah.
MJ something. His initials or something pop up, and it says "See you tomorrow" or "See you Monday," whatever.
I'm gonna say one thing. Goldberg is a goat. Said nobody ever.
John Nagel's a huge Goldberg mark. Huge Goldberg, but he
said no one ever.
Said
Goldberg.
No one,
yeah.
Goldberg mark said no one ever either.
Yeah, I mean, I liked when I like Goldberg to some degree. I think I don't know, but that's a whole. He's just trolling. But
okay, what odds you give that Booker T shows up tonight in the Rumble?
I could see that.
I'll give it 2-1 on that one. He always shows up at the Rumble.
I could see that. Anybody else or think? I mean, I like the Jade Cargill maybe makes her debut. Trying to think of like anybody.
I know I'm hearing Alexa Bliss might be showing up. Liv Morgan might be coming back tonight. So you might have a few things coming down on the women's end. The men's end, I don't see anybody made. I mean, unless unless like everybody's saying, if MJF shows up, that's the only major name I could think of that was.
Well, the men I don't have that many, but the women,
I'm sorry,
you could have NXT and stuff like that.
Oh, Ty Dillinger.
Sean Spears shows up as number 10.
I think you might see, and to be honest, I think Hogan was saying I'm maybe not. I know he's 70 years old. I wouldn't be surprised if Hogan shows up, but maybe they'll avoid that after.
I heard Hogan said he might be number 30. That's a surprise.
I mean, they got to be very careful because really all Hogan would have to do is throw a couple punches. My question is, how do you get him over the top rope without him getting hurt?
Very, very gently.
Yeah, he's 70 years old. I mean,
yeah, somebody's got to hit him with a clothesline, but not hard enough that it hurts him. Yeah, and then Hogan just takes a flop over the rope.
Because I don't know how Hogan could get his body over the top rope right now. Like, even if he wanted to self-eliminate, I don't know.
Have Rich Hollis give him a fucking elimination.
Oh my God!
But
anybody from NXT do you want to see come up today, Kendall? Because I got a couple in my head. I don't want to.
Carmelo and Trick Williams, since they were on last, I can see them being in there. Braun, maybe Baron. Maybe I would say a third of the field.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Kendall.
A third of the field would be NXT. I would at least 10. At the most, I'll see 10 or 11.
On the women's end, though, you know what I want to see tonight? Roxanne Perez, because I think she's not going to regain the title tomorrow night, and that'll be a good way to get into the main roster and have her show up at the Rumble tonight, and then come on to Raw SmackDown on Monday or Friday.
Like I said, I can see Trick, Mello, Braun, Corbin, Dijak. That's 4. 5. I named Trick, Mello, Braun, Baron, Dijak. That's about it.
I think you got.
That's about it.
I think you got to get Breaker to the main roster soon.
I think Breaker's going to be Raw after Mania.
He's lost a lot of momentum in NXT. I mean, was he making
they're just pulling at straws. They're like giving him like NXT not breakout, but NXT Dusty. Like, why?
The Dusty Rhodes Classic.
Yeah, like why? But yeah, Raw after Mania, I could definitely see him getting called up before. I can see Mello. Melo's been on SmackDown the past month ever since, so he's definitely getting called up either now or.
Well, didn't Melo sign a contract with Aldis?
He got offered a contract. I don't think he signed. I think he got offered a contract, which I do think he's going to sign.
Yeah.
After the Rumble, so I do think. I think tonight will be his official call up, and on SmackDown you'll see him sign. So But
I
yeah, Dijak, Braun, Baron, Trick and Mello, maybe some Chase U guy, uh, or that's Andre Chase and the
You
other guy.
Well, you probably figure you need 30. So I'm figuring 10 from Raw, 10 from SmackDown, 5 from NXT, and then you throw in like 5.
Five
You could
legends
throw
and
in,
yeah,
like Booker T. They could do a Michael Cole gimmick thing again, and just for the fun
yeah. So
of
that's
it.
what I'm thinking. 10 SmackDown, 10 Raw, 5 NXT, 5 legends,
So
surprises, returns, or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, I think this has an opportunity to be a very memorable Rumble. Um, Honestly, if MJF shows up, this would be one of the most memorable ones. Because I will say this,
Well, here's a question: Will Andrade make a return tonight in the Rumble?
I think so. I think that's a
I
good one
think so.
to pick.
I would
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
I'm sure he's back with open arms. He's married to Charlotte. Triple H always liked him. I think he's a slam dunk, but I mean Andrade, it sucks because he's really cooled off. He really cooled off over the years, and AEW
They
didn't
used him
really
the
do
wrong way.
they didn't really do anything to like have a career resurgence at all. Um, so is there a lot of hype? And it sucks because I'm a big Andrade fan, but is there
Well,
like any hype for him to return? Not
I,
really.
I told you what ruined him from the beginning is when they did that Andrade Matt Hardy gimmick where they had them, the Matt Hardy brand match up with Andrade, and that ruined him. I think.
They didn't treat him like they didn't treat him like a star,
No,
and maybe WWE didn't either. I mean, he really hasn't had that major star appeal since NXT, and again, that's developmental, but it's a main show. I just don't think like, and it sucks because Andrade is great. I just feel like he's at a point where I'm not sure like what you really do with him. If you bring him back, like he'll probably get. I don't think that pop will even be that huge, to be honest. Like it sucks. I feel like he's now like Charlotte Flair's husband more than being Andrade.
I think the perfect time if you want to bring Andrade back tonight, use him to come out when it's more LWO and Legato heavy, and then who does Andrade favor? Which I said already he should go with the LWO because that will be evened up a little bit
I
while
think
Ray is out.
a match with him and oh
And
my
of
god,
course, Electra Lopez showed up last night, which I predicted was going to happen. Also, jumping Zelina during that match.
why am I blanking on the guy that left the LWO? Why am I blanking on his name?
Mysterio,
Not Mysterio. Oh my god,
Santos.
Santos.
Santos and Andrade. That's a match right there.
That's
I
a
would love to
WrestleMania
see.
match right
Yeah.
there.
So maybe you do something there. But yeah, I think he's a lock for a return. Nobody else that can really that's else is coming to mind. Really, for me tonight, I really don't think MJF is coming, but I just think that there is a possibility, and I really think no one is talking about it, which makes me go like the dirt sheets really are been very inaccurate lately, which makes me start to wonder. Like no one said a goddamn word. This guy talked about his contract being up for a year and nobody said a word when it ended. Like nobody.
I mean,
That's
Justin
weird.
Barrasso alone screwed up major this week with his stuff.
Yeah, Sports Illustrated, what are you doing? You're really hurting your credibility when you're trying to act like dirt sheets. Like I was really
Right?
shocked by
Didn't they
that.
fire everybody?
I
And
think
they
so.
fired everybody except for Justin Barrasso in the wrestling department.
Yeah, like what was Sports Illustrated so desperate that they're going to start trying to leak what they
AI,
like?
they're going with AI reporting. That's how stupid this is.
Yeah, they're
I
going. They probably got it from a fucking AI chatbot.
If you are going to be an established um, magazine like Sports Illustrated is, you should not be getting involved with dirt sheets. Like that
Nope.
is, I'm sorry, I love wrestling dirt sheets. I've loved them since I
Yeah.
was a kid. They are not credible,
No,
and when they're wrong, they don't take any responsibility, and when they're right, they're like, "See, I
Zero
told you."
News, Dave Meltzer, Sean
Yeah.
Rothsapp.
No, like even when you get
Uh,
somebody like Justin Barrasso who said, "Oh well, I got good, reliable sources in Triple H's circle." First off, who in Triple H's circle is going to give Justin Barrasso information about wrestling? Triple H will kill you if you did that. Your career in WWE is over if you did that. And then
Not
Justin
one.
Barrasso goes, "Oh, it was my mistake." No, you were trying to get clicks. Don't BS
Yeah.
anybody. You were clickbaiting everybody to see. Oh, it's going to be Gunther and Seth. It's going to be Rock and Roman, and it's going to be Cody's going to wrestle Punk. Cody wrestling Punk, what? Because they had a face to face Monday night.
Yeah.
Get real.
yeah.
Yeah, desperation, and that's sad for Sports Illustrated, in my opinion, because if you are lowering yourself to be, and again, I like wrestling dirt sheets, but if you are a credible source of news and you're lowering yourself to go to wrestling dirt sheets and act like them, that is not good. You know,
But
but
then, but the sad part is, it's like when they do stuff like that, they make guys like me, Kendall, yourself when you cover wrestling, anybody that does wrestling podcasts that use these sites as a way to get information to do their show. Now you're giving bad information now, and then your subscribers go, "Oh, you're giving out BS information too." Well, who do we get
That's
it from?
why.
The same
That's why
people
I
that
don't
are
do
saying
dirt
BS
sheet stuff on
information.
my podcast. Yeah, I don't do. I just do topic episodes now.
well, I hope no one tunes in to Let Freedom Ring when I do wrestling shows for credible backstage wrestling information because
Same for
there's
On the
no way
Sidelines podcast. Please subscribe.
there's no way I ever have anything credible there. But I can give you an opinion. But
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. But we want to talk about these things, and when we're talking about something that's complete
I mean, like
fiction,
when
yeah,
like me and James are CDTA and we're doing the show. If I want to talk about what's going on, let's say with Vince McMahon, what happened with him resigning and the story. Now I'm reading. Now where am I getting my information? Of course, I'm getting it off a website because
Website. Yeah.
I don't know
yeah.
anybody in WWE. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I think you
Which
do
are
on
you
your
going?
show. You always
Quick
say it.
question. I want to ask this before I forget it. Are you going to talk about that Monday with the review?
Yes,
I'll be on. So check me and Mike out on
and
Monday.
James.
Yeah. Well,
And James
anything
Monday.
you guys, anything else you guys want to plug before we wrap this up?
On the
Now,
Sidelines podcast, 2 years anniversary show, February 17th. I will have Dan and Mike hopefully on. Again, I don't do dirt sheet stuff anymore. I used to do that with the other show, Wrestling Fans Unhinged, but now I don't do it anymore. I just do topic episodes. So check that out February 17th at 7:15 p.m. Central, 8:15. We're going to talk about all the things I did on my channel, all the things I will do on my channel, and stuff like that. And there will be a special interview along at the beginning of the show. So first half is going to be the interview. Second half is going to be the review of my channel and what could I do better and criticism and stuff. So, uh, yeah, that's it. I do football content, basketball content. I'm gonna start doing basketball content. Shout out to Luca for dropping 73 points
that was
last night.
amazing. That was
Uh,
amazing. I read
Spring
about that.
training of your World Series champions, Texas Rangers, are coming up soon, and spring training for the Texas Long. That's the only non DFW team I do. DFW team I do is the Texas Longhorns. But other than that, Mavericks, Rangers, Cowboys, all DFW sports. Anything DFW sports, I'm your guy, and just yeah, no dirt sheets, just opinions.
Check it out, guys. Mike.
Okay, they already gave it away. We're doing the review for the Royal Rumble on Monday. Me, James, Kendall. We'll talk about that. I'll throw in a little bit of the Janelle Grant, Vince McMahon story. What's going on with that? Um, and that's about it. So yeah, so I'm hopefully I'm gonna be able to watch the Rumble live tonight. I really do. And I don't know why I'm lagging all of a sudden. I'm ready to have a good time watching the Rumble tonight.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no playoff games tonight. So I thought I didn't know there were gonna be no playoff games. So yeah, I'm watching the Rumble live tonight because no playoff game tonight. So there we go.
All right. Well, everybody out there,
Dallas
enjoy the Royal.
and Kansas.
Yeah.
Dallas and Kansas City. That should be the Super
What?
Bowl.
Well, hopefully we see the Lions in there,
Okay.
but we're gonna wrap this up. Everybody, enjoy the Royal Rumble. Have a great rest of your Royal Rumble Saturday.
Yeah.
Will MJF show up? We'll find out later.
Yeah.
No.
But until next time, yeah, let freedom ring, baby.